Last episode, nothing bad happened. Pickles, no! And we made steps towards solving our food crisis by building a farmhouse, automating our crops, and capturing some farm animals. This time, it's all about trains. We're going to build a couple of new contraptions in our workshop to get exactly what we need to build our very first train in the world, complete with a lovely little platform. But before we do any of that, we need to talk about Pickles. So yes, there was a bit of an incident. It definitely wasn't my fault, nothing to do with me shooting an elephant. I was curious if you could eat them or not, alright? And tears have been shed over the loss of Pickles, especially considering we literally just gave him a home. But the good news is I have gone and retrieved everything because, well, obviously the elephants killed me as well. I made a terrible mistake. And I think I'm mentally prepared enough to go and find myself a brand new steed. So let's go find Pickles too. And no, that's not actually going to be his name. But if you have any suggestions for a name, do let me know in the comments. And just like that, we have a fresh horse. Although, it's not Pickles. And I'm hoping that you guys can come up with a better name for that because, well, that's just awful, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. But one last thing we need to do before we actually crack on with today's builds is to sort out a little bit of food because we only have one cod left and a few cooked salmon, but we've got lots of resources here. So I think it's time we make ourselves something a little bit more fancy. So if we do a search for @farmers, we can see here, look, we've got lots and lots of different food options down here. The simpler ones are things like the hamburgers. We can probably make those quite easily. But if I'm honest, I'm quite tempted by the shepherd's pie because, well, who doesn't love a good shepherd's pie? So for this, we're going to need some baked potatoes. We'll get them cooking. We need lamb chops as well, but because this is Farmer's Delight, what we're going to do is put those in our offhand and just hold right-click, and we're going to chop these up. It's a very satisfying sound. And then in the basket here, we've now got raw mutton chops, so let's just cook up a bunch of those. And we're also going to need some milk, so come here, cow. And what we can then do with the buckets of milk is turn them into bottles of milk, and that just means we get a little bit more from each bucket. Last thing we're going to need is a bunch of onions and some bowls. So if we grab some of these mutton chops, grab some of these baked potatoes, we should be able to craft ourselves the shepherd's pies. Look at that. And we've got 4 of them, but you can't eat these as they are. So what we actually need to do is put them down on a side like this and then hit them with a bowl. And that's actually going to give us plates of shepherd's pie. And look at that, it's also got nourishment for 5 minutes. And I believe what nourishment does is actually prevents your food saturation from going down. So whenever we eat shepherd's pie, we've got 5 minutes before it'll even start counting anything down again, which is fantastic. And I'll be honest, it's quite easy to make as well. So we've got 16 of those, we'll add those into our bag, but I also want to make a load of burgers as well, basically because they're just nice and easy. For that, we need lettuce, we need onion, we need tomato, and we're going to need some bread. Oh, and beef. Of course we're going to need beef. So we'll chop the beef to make minced beef. We'll chop the cabbage down as well. Let's get that beef cooking. Now we can make ourselves a bunch of hamburgers as well. Beautiful stuff. And that should be enough food to keep us going for a while. So we can actually start on what we're supposed to be doing today, which is trains, basically. We're going to build a nice little train platform over there. A small bit of rail as well. We'll probably have to carve a hole in the mountain at some point. And we also need to add a couple of contraptions into our workshop here, just so we can get the things we need to actually build the trains. So let's do that bit first. I believe I've gathered everything I need, or at least the resources to make the extra bits that I don't currently have. And now we just need to find a place. So the first thing I want to do is actually make something that is just going to auto-generate rail for us, because that's something we're going to be using a lot of, and I mean a lot. We're in a large biomes world here. So eventually we'll have a giant factory producing everything, but for now, I think we can at least make a start. And this is the machine we need to set up, so it should be fairly straightforward. And I reckon we can probably fit it in over here. So let's start at the end and work our way backwards, shall we? So we'll have the input there, and we'll make use of the old item drain trick again. Then we'll have a saw next to that, and a conveyor belt going across the front. How are we going to power this? Although we have brought power up here, we actually slowed it down loads for these fans, and we kind of want fast, full-speed power, so I wonder if we can maybe steal it off that. So let's stick in a vertical gearbox, and let's see, if we quickly get these in, maybe we can rotate the power using those. Look at that, genius. And then we can just connect that up. Although it's going the wrong way, let's stick in a gearbox. There we go, that should do the trick. We should probably check and make sure that this is actually going the right way. So let's quickly set a filter for what we want. So let's put a funnel there and chuck that in. and it's soaring the wrong way. Dang it. That means we're going to have to mess around with the gears over here a little bit. So if we were to use cogs like that, these two would go in opposite directions, which is what we need. There we go. It's going the right way now. Perfect. Then we need 2 deployers and a mechanical press. To be honest, this one's quite straightforward. Just a couple more cogs and... we've overstressed it. Okay, I think I have a solution. So if we make ourselves some clutches and sneak these around about the place. So, for example, we'll stick one in here and we make a bunch of redstone links here. What we can do is set that to receive. We're just going to put cobble in that one there and a bit of redstone just to make sure it's a unique signal. And I think what we're going to do is actually have a few of these so we can turn machines on and off, because that way we don't have to expand the power here, but we can just manage it and control it as and when we need certain machines. So if we match this signal with cobblestone and redstone, give it a lever, when we flick this, hopefully everything will come on again, because this should reduce the stress enough to actually power everything that we've got running at the moment. And look at that, it works. So now everything's working apart from this machine here. And something else I think we can do, if we're clever about this, is it here? Yes, it's right here. Okay, so we're going to dig down. Over here somewhere we should find our basement. Okay. Got something here. What's this? This is behind the wall. We're certainly heading in the right direction. Let's just dig around a little bit, but there should be more power down here. Aha, here it is. And what I want to do is connect these up so they actually feed off of each other. Because although the mechanical crafter takes up a lot of power, it's not something we're going to be using too often. So it makes sense to actually be able to drag this power upstairs when we don't need it on the crafter. So now if we go down here and find where the thing is for this, there you go, look, nice and easy. And we'll stick another clutch in, another redstone signal, and now we've matched up those gears. We should, in theory, be able to turn that off, turn that on, and everything's still good. But now we have control here. We can turn that off, we can turn off our crafting table downstairs, and we'll have this so we can control these sort of upstairs bits that we're adding at the moment. But who knows, maybe by connecting them we'll have enough power anyway. So, power problem solved. We need to get this finished. And I believe this beam here is actually in the way. We might have to move this back a little bit, because we need the space here to put down some chutes and some drawers. So we need to set an iron nugget filter for these, and then chuck a bunch in there, chuck a bunch in that one as well. The last thing we need is a collection point there with a funnel on the side, and I think, in theory, that should do the job. All we need to do now is go grab loads more of these iron nuggets and a whole load of stone. So let's grab a whole load of these. Couple of full drawers should do for now, and we're going to grab a whole bunch of this excess cobble as well. So let's cook up loads of cobble, which is going to give us loads of stone. In theory, if we put stone in there, this should make track for us. Yeah, look at that. Excellent. Train track. Nice and quick as well. Let's just keep the supply of nuggets going. And while that stone cooks up, we'll just quickly get a few more andesite casings and get this thing looking a little bit nicer. And there we go. That's looking pretty good. Part 1 is done. We've also grabbed loads of stone from our storage as well, and we've got absolutely loads of it. So yeah, this should keep it running for a while. We're probably just going to need to top up the iron at some point. But we've already got 200 rails, which is lovely. Let's just leave that thing running. And now we need to sort out the other thing, which is train casings. We need to be able to make train casings. And for these, we need brass casings, which is easy enough, but we also need sturdy sheets, and this is where the problems arise, because we need lava, basically. So, yeah, we're going to make this little machine here, and we're just going to manually feed it obsidian whenever we need train casings. So it doesn't need to be fully automated, but it does need to be able to collect lava, and I'm thinking this spot here is probably going to be quite good for it. It's going to be fairly tight, but I reckon it can work. But we're also going to need to store overflow lava, so maybe we could stick a couple of tanks out the back here. Let's just stick a small one in for now. And I think I might actually move the stairs over a little bit, just so we've got some more space for this machine. There we go. Now we can see exactly what space we're working with. So the first thing I need to consider is lava generation. How are we going to do that? Maybe that's something we can actually do up here. So if we can generate lava and pipe it into this tank here, so we're probably going to have to go down like this. Stick a bunch of cauldrons on top of those. And then we'll need to add all the dripstone-y bits to actually generate the lava, but that should work. If we make mechanical pump here and go that way, that is indeed correct. And then we just need to get a cog here to power it. So let's head back downstairs and see what we're dealing with down here. So we need a cog there. Then maybe we can pull it over this way and send it down, because we need to connect this to the rest of the power somewhere. And I reckon that somewhere can be right here. We'll just make sure we put it before the clutch for this machine. So if we put a cog in there and then one underneath and another, use a gearbox, shaft, a vertical gearbox and another shaft. Beautiful. Right, so over here we need a spout, and this is what's going to feed the lava through. So if we grab some more pipes and Put that in there. And we're also going to need another pump as well. So let me think about this. At the moment, the lava's going to come through the tube, it's going to fill up here, and then the overflow is going to go in there. But when we're actually using the machine, we need to get it back out of the overflow. So maybe if we put a pump there like that, and another pipe, then I guess the cog's going to have to come out that way. Jeez. I have a feeling we're going to be using a lot of andesite casing on this build. And a couple more gearboxes. Right, okay, so all the lava should be pumping around the system just fine, which will keep this refilled, and then we just need a couple of smashers, which are also going to need power. Oh my days. So in theory, that should do everything we need. I just need to make it look a little bit tidier, because this is an absolute mess right now. Right, that's got the belt working as well. Let's hide all of this, I think. So down the bottom here, we just need to stick a funnel on the back of that one, and a collection funnel on the back of that one. And now, apart from the fact it doesn't actually have any lava, that is ready to go. Let's go get some dripstone and make the lava happen. Excellent. So these are all now dripping. That's going to make lava for us, and that's going to fill up our machine. But we can't do anything until it actually has some lava in it. So for now, what I'm going to do is grab all of my buckets, run down into my mines, and just scoop up as much as I can find. Just to give this thing a little bit of a kickstart and get ourselves some train casings. We're back with some lava, and I've just remembered. See the windmill sails over there? You'll be pleased to know they're now going the right way. I did spot in editing that they were spinning the wrong way, and it seems to have triggered quite a lot of you in the comments. So, yeah, sorry about that. But at least it's going the right way now. So let's just check our pipes are working first, I guess. Let's put some lava in there, and it should disappear. It doesn't seem to be disappearing. Are we getting any drips from these pipes? What have I done wrong here? I think it might be this bit here that's the problem. I'm wondering if it's actually pumping it back into the cauldrons. Right, let me have a little play down here. So in theory, all I need to do is lower this pipe by a block. Let's make it go into that one. Nope, wrong way. Right, so there we go. Now it's working. We're getting lava where we want it. So now we should just be able to dump all this lava in here and watch it disappear. Look at that. And that's storing itself in this tank. Perfect. So the last thing we need to get this working is obsidian. So with this obsidian, we'll chuck this into the crusher. As you can see, I have been crushing some gravel as well. And look at that. So we get powdered obsidian, and we have a chance to get our obsidian back as well. So let's just keep running this through until it completely disappears, I guess. And then what we can do with the obsidian dust is put it in here, and it gets squirted on, and all this weird stuff happens. It gets smashed about a little bit, and then we get sturdy plates. We put down some brass casings here, and then apply the sturdy sheets. Look at that. We get train casings. And we have now reached the logistical age. This is where all the fun stuff really begins to happen. I think I'm going to go celebrate by making myself a lovely cup of tea. Well, it's finally time for some trains, and I've got some planning to do. So if we grab some track, what I need to do is essentially work out where the platform's going to go. Do we want the platform on the back here? I mean, that's going to look better, I suppose. If you're coming in on the train from this way, it'll be nice to actually be able to see the village. So, yeah, we should probably have the track on this side. So let's just start by placing a bit. So if we can just place it like normal blocks, but I believe if we right-click and then run off in this direction, we can actually place whole stretches at once. So let's go to here, maybe a little bit further. I've dug out a little bit here because what we want to do is kind of send it off to the right here. So that could work. And then we'll just send it off in that direction. Now, on this side, it's a little bit trickier because, of course, we have a whole mountain in the way, and I need to cut through that mountain, so how are we going to do that and still leave space for a path? What I might need to actually do is take the curve from somewhere over here, so let's just see roughly where it would need to go. So we're talking this sort of area. Okay, so I'm going to mark a center point. And then let's just dig out a little bit of a hole here. So how will the track fit into here? Just like that, I guess. So let's give it a little bit more space on the sides. So what I'm thinking is we're going to want to have a raised platform, and it's going to need space for the train itself. So what we can probably do is something like this. And then we'll build the platform itself, which I guess will kind of just be up here. And then I guess the question is, how far back do we want the platform to go? It doesn't need to be a massive platform. It is only a small village after all, so maybe get away with sort of 5 wide? 6? 7 maybe? Maybe we should go there. Let's get this filled in and see how we're looking. I think that's a pretty good size and should work well for us, but it looks absolutely horrific at the moment, as expected at this stage, I guess. But I think for a general layout, that should work quite nicely. We just need to work out how the path's going to attach, and I guess that goes for this side as well, although we could put a bridge in. Ooh, that could look cool. We could put like an iron sort of bridge in that goes over the track here, And that's how you get onto the station from this side. Oh, that would be lovely. We could do something similar on this side, but I quite like the idea of just like a sneaky little foot access where you have to kind of make sure there's no trains coming and so on. You know, a little bit of danger. But I think now we know where the station's going to sit. I just need to spend a bit of time figuring this out and making it look nice. I think I want to grab some limestone, get a little bit of brightness over here. We've used a lot of the same blocks in every single build so far, which was the intention, of course, but I do kind of want the station to stand out just a little bit. And I wonder if we can get our hands on some of this limestone. It does look like quite a nice block. But I guess the first question is, do I already have any? I might have a little bit. Well, I have a tiny amount of limestone. I've got just over a stack. But that does tell me that I must have dug through some at some point. So I'm going to go run through my caves again and find where that was. I'm sure it wouldn't be too difficult to find, right? I should take some torches. And here's the limestone. So I'm going to dig up a whole bunch of this. And then you're probably going to get a beardy montage of me trying to make that place look nice. And yes, I do have an arrow stuck in my chest. Well, a few more hours and a lot more track than I originally intended later. I think we're actually done. Well, we're definitely done with the platform side of things, but at the moment I've just sort of put a little bit of track in just so we can at least do a loop-de-loop once we've got a train going, because it'll be rude not to. But in order to make that work, I've had to dig a couple of holes through this mountain, and then that'll go off and connect to elsewhere. But this also means that when a train does come into the station, it can just loop round like this and then go back the way it came. I mean, I don't really know where all the different places I'm going to be building are yet, so I don't actually know what directions I need to be going in, but at least it's a start. And I've kept the platform over here quite simple as well, but I'm really pleased with how it's come out. It's just got a few little benches, it's got some visitors already apparently, but we've also got these lovely lights, and the metal bridge that goes over the track I think came out really well. I do like how this looks. It's very, very simple, but it just does the job. And over this side, I discovered that you can hit the rail track with slabs, and it kind of has this effect, so it actually creates like a little pedestrianised area. So yeah, we managed to get our danger factor in as well. Speaking of danger, go away you! Trying to talk to people. And besides the fact it needs a bit of foliage over there, I think that's looking pretty good from a distance as well. But it's going to look a lot better once we get a train sitting in it. So I guess that's our next task. We need to make a couple of bits and bobs, and then we're going to get our first train down. Let's talk about Minecraft trains, shall we? They're really difficult to design. So before this series even started, I played around in a creative flat world for probably about 3 weeks, designing lots of different trains and train engines. And while I was doing that, I looked at a lot of pictures of trains, and I mean a lot of different trains. I very quickly settled on a steam engine style, of course, because, well, it just suits the mod. But thankfully, after looking at so many images, as well as some create schematics of trains other people had built just to get some build techniques, I do finally have a design I'm happy with. And I could use the schematic cannon to just blast it into existence on this world, but I don't really want to do that because I think it might be a bit more beneficial if we actually have a look at how it's built. But because I put walls on either side of the platform here, this is probably not a very good place to build it. So I think what I might actually do is just find a little construction area around here. Maybe add an extra bit of track that connects. I did not mean to break that. And then I promise we're going to build a train. Well, it may not be the prettiest thing in the world, but at least we've got somewhere to build now. So off to the side here, what we can do is put a station here and basically just have its own little line off to the side. But to do that, we first need to make a train station. So we do already have a compass and a train casing, and that's going to give us 2 train stations, which is handy. What we want to do is put the front of the train station here, pointing in that direction. And if we right-click on this, we can give it a name, so we'll just call this the train yard for now. And then we'll click this create new train button, and yeah, this is where it all kicks off, really. So the first thing I need to do is to put down a train casing on the track, and that gives us this, which is a bogie. So we'll just put in the main part of the chassis first. So we're going to do a polished block and then a chute, and then 3 blocks and then 3 chutes. Not quite like that. We want them like that, but this is a really nice trick, actually, for getting some curves on the bottom of a train, and it's just attaching chutes like this. And that works really well. Do need to get another bogie down as well.
Priceless.
Then at the front here, we're going to bring this out, and we're going to use these framed blocks to get a cool shape. We'll use some framed half slabs at the bottom there. And on the back here, we're just going to use some more chutes like that. Let's get rid of that one and do that. So with the bogies, you can also right-click and you can get different sort of chassis types, I guess. And we're going to have a big one at the back here and a small one at the front. Now, up on top here, let's get the main shape of the actual train in. And for the colour of the train, we're going to be using stripped warped hyphae, which just looks really nice, I think. And I think this colour of train coming up here is going to fit in really nicely with the mountainous area too. And we're actually going to swap this one out here for another chute. So here comes the fun bit. So what we're going to use now is crushing wheels, and we're going to lower them actually. They're going to be one block lower than that. So we're going to use crushing wheels here, stick a flywheel on the front. That's going to create the front of the train, and you can already see it coming together. And we'll block up over the top of these as well. We're going to use a couple of fluid tanks here so that we can put a steam whistle on, and that will actually make the whistle go off every time it comes into a train station, which is awesome. We're going to use a couple of trapdoors, couple of pipes, and for now I'm just going to put a chute there, but because, well, since I designed these, I have actually now added the steam and rails update, or mod I should say, and that comes with better versions of these. So I've got one of these that I can actually have a proper smokestack on, which is going to look awesome. We still need a bit of detail on the side here though, so we're going to use a couple of trapdoors, and if we stick a few shafts on like this and then use the brackets over the front of them like that, it gives a really nice bit of detail to the side of the train, although it's really difficult to see from up this close, to be honest. So let's quickly sort this side and hopefully we'll get a better view of it. Oh, it's coming along, but it needs a cab, so we're going to use more of the polished cut black stone for this. Bring these back a little bit, stick one of them there, and where are our train controls? Have we even made train controls yet? I don't think we have. No, we haven't, but we do have the pieces on us. We're going to stick the train controls in there, and a seat just behind it. These are very important when it comes to making a train. Then we'll give it some windows. Do the same at the back here, I think, and just block up the back. Get some brass ladders on the side here so we can actually get up and into the cabin here. Same on that side. And we're almost there. Let's just get a roof on this thing. For a few finishing touches, we'll add a little bit of texture here and there. But most importantly, we're going to add the giant wheels. And if we stick them there, and then do the same on this side. If you look at it without these wheels, it looks a little bit weird. But as soon as you add these, the whole thing just ties together. And look at that. That's our wonderful train. Wait a minute. It's not quite done. We haven't added the stoppers on the back, so for that we need to do that and then stick those on. Love it. And a couple of those on the front as well. Yeah, look at that. I think our train is almost ready to drive. There's one more thing we need to do, and that is to glue it all together. And I have found out you can actually put unbreaking and mending on super glue, which is great. I just don't have unbreaking at the moment, but it's good for the mending. So let's get this stuck together. Make sure we're getting the ladders as well. I don't think there's anything else sticking out at the sides that's not attached. It's just those ladders. And I need to get that bit of the smokestack. Other than that, I think we've actually glued the whole thing together in pretty much one box there. Wonderful. So what we can now do is assemble the train. It seems to have worked. Oh geez, this train's going to need a name. What do we call our train? I guess you're going to have to let me know in the comments. I'm just going to call it the train because I'm very imaginative. So in theory, we can now go up here, sit on the seat. We should, press F5, be able to take control of the train. Look at that! We're off! Amazing! Oh geez. Oh, my tunnels need to be a little bit bigger. Oh, but we can go through the station. Oh, this is just wonderful. We hold space, we pull up at the train, we get the steam. Oh, this is very cool. I like this. Well, that's amazing and I love it, but it needs a little bit more. For a start, it needs a carriage. But we can also give the train a driver and then give it a schedule, and it will basically automate itself. So let's put in the second station. We'll just call it Beardville for now. Once again, I am terrible with naming things, so if you have any suggestions, please do let me know in the comments. I'm sure with your collective minds, you can come up with something much better than I can. Now here comes the fun part. Let's get ourselves a train driver. Oh, you look keen. So if we put the pig there, he'll now be the train driver. We just need to give him a schedule. So we'll add a station. We want to travel to station Beardville. Wait there for 10 seconds. Then go to the train yard. Wait there for 10 seconds. And basically, that's going to be your life for, well, until I build an actual train line. So give him the schedule, and look at that, we're off. Smoke's very cool, actually. I like that. So he should drive off any seconds. There we go, he's off. Oh, geez. Okay, my bridge isn't tall enough either. Well, it looks like I've got a few modifications to make and a little bit of tidying up to do. I mean, the tunnel's not big enough. The bridge over the thing isn't tall enough. Seems to be trapping the smoke. I may need to rethink a little bit of this. And we also need a carriage for our train, but at least it works and it's going round. But sadly, that is all we've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.